What is up, guys? You know what it is. This is Thursday's Thoughts with your boy, and we have an extra special guest today, all the way from Sweet Lips, Tennessee. We've got my mother, man. She's here in the
Doesn't get any
flesh.
better than that.
Doesn't get any better than that. So, I thought it was. I'm glad you're here, Mom.
Thank you.
You're
I'm
staying for a while,
glad to be
helping
here.
out.
My grandbaby's gonna be a year old.
So, we talk a lot on here, which you've seen, about my OCD, anxiety, and a lot of stuff that I've done to try to work through it. Some stuff didn't work out so good. Some stuff has worked out well. So, I thought it was perfect to have you here because what better than to get a perspective from a mother? Because, this started at a really young age for me. So, this could be really helpful for maybe parents of children that look up OCD online. So I thought it'd be great to get your perspective, and I'll kind of lead you into it because it's a lot. It's a really loaded question.
It's hard too. It's heavy.
It's heavy. It's a lot of hard stuff. So
You went through a lot of hard stuff. To watch
When-
a child go through OCD like that at such a young age was tough.
and when did it start for you? Because for
When
me,
did I notice it for you?
Yeah, because for me, it really, in my mind, it was so long ago. It started the night that I told you guys.
Right.
So, for you, was there any signs before that?
Well, I used to say to your dad, Brian would go out the door to the garage and then come back in and go out and come back in and he said, "Oh, it's just a kid thing," which most parents consider that.
Makes sense.
And makes sense. And then there were other.
And what age was that kind of at when you first talked about
that was probably like first, second grade,
So what is that, like 6?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there was the then you learn about it, but
What do you mean you learn about it? Because was there more of a period, or did I tell you?
Okay, so we noticed different things. Okay, no, you're right. What happened was when you were in the early 3rd grade, we always read books to you kids at night, and you would go to sleep. Well, you wouldn't, and you had us so frustrated because we would read book after book, and you wouldn't go to sleep. And I'd come out and say something to your dad, and we were like angry with you for not sleeping, going to sleep. Go to sleep, Well, finally, I guess you had finally, I don't know, but I was in there, I was reading it, and I heard you say, I can't do it. I don't care. I'm telling her.
Was that the night that I came out?
That was the night that you came out, and I said, Brian.
So you had read, wait, so let's slow down. Just for them.
Okay.
Let's just slow down for them. So, that night you had read me a book, and then you went out and were talking to Dad. And because then I remember, did I say something before then? Because I remember, for me, I remember being in bed and trying to go to sleep. And every time I'd close my eyes, I'd have to do it a series of times for it to feel good. And then that night, nothing was making it feel good.
Okay, but you know what you told us? You know what you told me that? When you finally said what you were up.
Somebody told me.
You said that they said if I close my eyes,
This is important.
something is going to happen. If I close my eyes and go to sleep, something dreadful is going to happen to either my sister, my mother, or my father. And so you fought sleep for all those. And then as a parent, realizing that we were like angry with you for not going to sleep, but you couldn't help it.
But that's an important kind of segue, because you said, what I came out and said to you was, they said something bad was going to happen.
Right.
Because it wasn't long after I told you guys that I remember being worried if I'd still be allowed to. No, that was a little later when I was worried
Let me
if I'd
tell
still.
you,
You take control.
when we finally found somebody, a doctor, to look at you and whatnot at your age and everything.
Well, let's time out. Before you were able to get me to a doctor, What were kind of some of the feelings you and Dad went through? Because now it's real. It's not just quirky.
Oh, son, pain, and I hate to, it's going to throw him all off, but your dad said to his dying day, if he could only have taken this away from you, he would have taken it, and I feel the same way. A person with OCD, people don't get it. When you were diagnosed, at 3rd grade, I had to go and explain it to the teachers. They didn't know what I was talking about.
Because this is 1996.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wondered why Brian wrote down the margin always in his English. And Brian is so smart, and he'd get all the answers and be done early in math, and it'd be time to turn it in, and he'd be busy erasing them all and wouldn't be able to turn in his paper because he had to put the answers again and again, and they didn't understand it.
So they
were really grateful for me to explain. But I did nothing but research, and there wasn't a lot of research, so I read a book against
medical advice, which is in my library back here. Let's keep this thing on the road because we're doing great.
Good.
But where are we at? We're at 8 minutes, I think, 6 or 8 minutes.
Okay.
So then you get me to the doctors, and there's a process to diagnose me.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the very first process was to rule out schizophrenia.
Well, see, that's what is, as we've talked about as I've gotten older and I've learned about psychology, is important to hear because
big difference.
Yeah, and you can't diagnose someone very young, which makes sense why my diagnosis wasn't until when, like 9?
It was, yeah.
But it's very important because the thing about kids is it's tough to know really what's going on because they only have a limited cognition of what's going on. So a 6-year-old can only come and tell you that, instead of saying like, I just feel an anxiety that something's bad will happen, it's in your mind, you're telling yourself that these bad things will happen, but at that age, you can't, connect that it's you.
Okay, but from what I understood going to the doctor,
mm-hmm.
He was phenomenal. The way he did it was, I guess with schizophrenia, I've never looked into it because thank God you didn't have that. Poor parents that kids do, but you see an image, you see something, and that was something that our doctor, at your young age, when he was saying, I was saying I can't do it, I have to do this many or that many. It wasn't something telling you; it was in your head. And when you told me it's my mind telling me, that he said it's not schizophrenia.
So it's important to get the proper diagnosis.
Exactly.
But then moving forward after the diagnosis, the work doesn't end there. It just,
oh no, there's you can put them on this drug, that drug, that.
And I did for a while.
So many different.
And for some people,
and God bless them all for giving it, and we tried them, and for some people they work,
and for a period of time they work.
Don't exactly. And it's like a trial and error on any drug with a child in a situation like their OCD cannot be. Everything that I've learned, there's not a drug you can take to cure OCD. It's not a curable illness. You have to learn to cope and live with it. And
we did a really good job. And we'll keep this in control because we did a really good job. And what we're trying to get out here is it's just as tough for the family and the parents as the person dealing with it.
Can I add?
You absolutely can.
Okay, there's one other thing. Brian has a sister, and she's older than him, a year, 2. Anyway.
4.
Was it 4?
She's 4 years old.
Oh, goodness time. Anyway, she went through a resentment period because she felt that Brian was faking stuff, and that he was getting our attention, and he was just doing it to fake, and she really believed that and had a tough time of that.
And that's an important thing to say because in a family
Sure,
dynamic,
yes.
these are things that
Yeah,
can
she's
come
looking
up.
at you. Oh, so big deal. He goes in and out. Oh, big deal. He has to set his cup down 15 times. Oh, big deal. He twirls around to get in and out of the van. Oh, big deal. He has to go like this on the ground to walk into elementary school.
And
Oh.
see, my OCD was it's just crazy. But
You have come so far. It's just something.
it's a lifelong thing,
it is.
and doing this has really connected me to the recovery part again.
That's good.
And that's why
Anything.
this is very important to me, because it keeps me in active recovery, keeps me mindful of how is my anxiety, and I need to take control of it.
And I need to say this. I have moved to Tennessee, but he calls me all
Yeah,
the
you're my biggest
time.
supporter.
I'm telling you, we talk.
Yeah, that's why you're on
But
here.
you can tell.
That's why you're on here, because she is my biggest supporter, and we've talked about your support system, and we talked about the abuse they take,
And how far you've come.
and that's great. But
And
today
all you
is
want
about
to do is help others. That's your whole thing. And if we can help
the parents
somebody out
today.
there to get something out of what I've said and how I feel, and don't be discouraged. Just, you know,
Just kind of.
it's not the child's fault. It's, come on, if they had cancer, you wouldn't blame them for that. So you gotta understand. It's,
So just be patient.
just be patient
Do the
and
research.
do what you
and
can
then
do.
now there's so much research out there. There's so
Oh.
much you can learn. So, man,
God bless you
we could go
all.
on forever.
I know.
That's our thing. But we're almost at 12 minutes. So, how are we gonna wrap this up today? So for parents, just be aware of the signs, because kids do have quirks. But it gets to a point where you can just tell there's something else going on.
If it takes them too long to do something, like Brian, to get ready for school, he wouldn't be ready. He wouldn't be ready. He wouldn't, and like, why aren't you ready? And it wasn't that he was like changing and wanting a different outfit. He couldn't put his pants on. And finally, when he came out and talked about it, if he didn't put his pant leg on right, and his toe and his heel and his toe and his heel, he had to take his pants off.
I'm
Yeah.
glad you said that, because so that's our first note. Like, just be aware of the signs.
Yes.
And if your kid is trying to talk to you about feelings they have, listen. Even
And
if
if
it
it
sounds
takes them
quirky, like
forever.
a shoe and a heel and a toe.
Yep.
But so just be patient. Listen to your kids, and if you are in a situation like this, just know it can get better.
I was going to say,
And
it's not the end of
And
the
it's
world.
going to take everybody
Yep.
working
I
together.
was just going to say that when you say it's not the end of the world.
It's not.
Mm-mm.
You can work
You
through
just
it.
gotta
You just
cope.
have to have those things that we've talked about in the other
Yep.
episodes. So let's get back to family life. Let's get out there and hang out. This was great.
I love you.
This
son.
was great, and we'll catch you next time. Hey, like
Thank
I
you.
always say, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment, say something. I'll respond. Thanks, guys. Peace.